Rome had defeated Carthage once before in a long and bloody war, but its greatest nightmare was about to cross the mountains. His name was Hannibal Barca, and he was about to bring Rome closer to destruction than ever before. He possessed a military genius driven by one objective: to dismantle the Roman state before it could erase Carthage from the map. In 218 BC, he initiated a staggering overland campaign. Hannibal marched from Spain toward Italy with a vast army of hardened soldiers, alongside agile cavalry and towering war elephants. Then he executed a maneuver that completely defied all military logic and did the unimaginable. He crossed the Alps. The journey was brutal. Freezing temperatures, blinding snow, and treacherous cliffs tested his army at every step. Constant ambushes from hostile tribes took their toll. Thousands of soldiers and nearly all the animals were lost to the ice. But Hannibal survived. Against all physical logic, he emerged from the mountains, and suddenly he was standing in Italy. Rome was completely unprepared for what came next. The Republic's leaders assumed any war would be fought on foreign soil. Now, a hostile army was marching through their own territory, shattering the illusion of security and forcing a desperate fight for survival. Hannibal moved quickly, systematically dismantling Roman armies as he advanced south. At the Trebia River, he lured freezing Roman legions into an ambush, where his cavalry emerged from the mist to deliver a crushing defeat. Soon after, at Lake Trasimene, he used the local geography to hide his entire massive army in the surrounding hills. When a much larger Roman force marched through the narrow path below, Hannibal trapped them against the water, destroying them completely. Then came Cannae. In 216 BC, the Roman Republic gathered an enormous army, vastly outnumbering his forces. Marching onto a flat plain, Rome expected to end the invasion with a single, massive blow. This tactical map illustrates Hannibal's double envelopment maneuver. He placed his weakest infantry in the center, instructing them to retreat. As the heavy Roman infantry pushed forward, Hannibal's elite troops on the outer edges surged ahead, closing behind them. The Roman army was completely surrounded. The result was catastrophic. Thousands of trapped Roman soldiers were killed or captured in a matter of hours. The shockwaves were immediate. Long-standing Roman allies abandoned the Republic, and mass panic swept the capital as survival appeared impossible. Cannae demonstrated that standard Roman military strength could not withstand Hannibal's tactical innovations. He had brought the Republic to the absolute edge of disaster. But in the aftermath of total victory, Hannibal made one crucial strategic decision. He did not march directly on the city of Rome. Without the heavy equipment needed to breach the capital's massive walls, he waited, hoping for a Roman surrender that never came. Rome fiercely refused to yield. Realizing they could not beat Hannibal in a direct fight, Roman commanders completely changed their approach. They stopped engaging his main army entirely, instead shadowing his movements and cutting off his supply lines to deny him the decisive battle he needed. Looking at this map, you can see how Rome expanded the conflict. While keeping Hannibal isolated in Italy, Roman legions launched massive offensives to strike Carthaginian territories in Spain and North Africa. This new strategy required bold new leadership, and it quickly arrived in the form of a commander named Scipio Africanus. Scipio thoroughly studied Hannibal's tactics, rebuilt the entire Roman army, and eventually carried the fight directly into the Carthaginian homeland. Carthage recalled Hannibal to defend the city. In 202 BC, the two legendary commanders finally met at the Battle of Zama. Scipio neutralized the war elephants, outmaneuvered the Carthaginian lines, and defeated Hannibal. Carthage surrendered. Rome's refusal to fight Hannibal on his terms saved the Republic. By absorbing tactical defeats to buy time for a broader strategic counteroffensive, they turned a near collapse into a total victory. Rome had survived its greatest crisis. But the process of defeating Hannibal structurally changed the Roman state. To defeat an enemy that operated across multiple continents, Rome built a massive, complex military supply chain. Its armies learned how to project power, maintain permanent garrisons, and fight campaigns thousands of miles from Italy for years at a time. In the process of pushing Carthage back, Roman generals conquered vast stretches of Spain and North Africa. The Republic's leaders recognized the immense economic resources and strategic buffers that came with acquiring these overseas territories. The victory over Hannibal established Rome as the dominant superpower of the Mediterranean. However, this expansionist machine introduced a new danger. Because these wars lasted decades in distant lands, soldiers began to tie their fortunes to their commanders rather than the laws of the city. This shift gave rise to ambitious, battle-hardened generals who now possessed the private loyalty of the legions. The Republic had survived Hannibal, but it had created a system where one man could eventually seize total control. That man was already rising through the ranks. His name was Julius Caesar. To be continued in Episode 4. Next episode, Julius Caesar, the man who changed Rome forever. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to History Stories Dose so you never miss the next chapter of history.